The storm surge is rolling in. The sands of time sweep ever onwards, and death magic blows strong at the Black Tower of Arkhan. Big Boner Nagash watches silently from the shadows as his first lieutenant and Hellebron meet in battle at the heart of the cracked land. 'Tis I, Indie Pride, facing down the evil ever-chosen Aristocratic once again. Boo that man! Boo! And just like last battle, we're using the Regiments of Renown compilation mod by Decomposed, Jailhouse Rocker, and Why So Furious. And there are some sexy ones on the field. Look great and play even better. A lot of fun to use. If you've read the End Times novels or the Army books, you'll recognize a lot of these ones. Many were fielded by Arkhan the Black himself in his wars for Bretonnia and Nahakara, like the Wights of Stonewrath Tarn. Gives a nice little dash of Vampire Counts flavor on an otherwise Egyptian-themed army, and they will certainly help turn an infantry fight in the Tomb King's favor. And Hellebron, upon her Altar of Cain, has tons of toys to play with as well. We're going to get to see a Kharibdyss in this battle, fish out of water to be sure, but one that can munch on constructs all day long, and Dread Spears of Grond. And of course, can't bring the artist formerly known as Hellebroken without the Blades of the Blood Queen, one of the meanest infantry units in all of Warhammer 2. So, as we get this baby underway, the core of the Tomb King's army is centered around Ushabti Greatbows. 3 of them, in fact. They're going to lay down some pretty terrifying barrages from long range and force an opponent into a hasty engagement, or at least that's the plan anyway. And the Wights of Stonewrath Tarn are unique to Arkhan the Black. They're basically high-tier graveguard for the followers of Nagash, who have been kind of warded with enchantments to prevent other petty necromancers from awakening them until their time had come. But as Tarn would say, the time is now. And if you're looking for something a little bit more flavorful, perhaps I can interest you in the Emerald Sentinels of Lybaras, jewel-encrusted Ushabti with magical damage and very good leadership and armor. In the rear of the army, King Nakesh's Scorpion Legion with their poison and high melee defense, always a really good choice for the Tomb Kings. And in the middle of everything, Arkhan the Black himself, fully kitted out, Purple Sun Azarius, Spirit Leech, and all his items, including the Lich Staff for refreshing cooldowns and improving recharge rate. So lots of winds of magic coming his way. Out on the left flank, Carrion, overlooking the dunes, always great at their price point for tying down range units and being really annoying. And Vanguard deployed all the way in the back, the Underworld Deathwatch, a unique Tomb Scorpion with poison and a really mean stat line of 44 melee attack and 48 melee defense. Most important trait of all, though, is Stalk, which means we can get a true ambush off with him from behind once the lines clash. So we'll be looking to maybe get into the range units and disrupt a lot of the infantry and kill them too, because with that stat line, he'll certainly be able to. For Hellebron and the Dark Elves, some Cold One Knights and Dark Rider crossbows, and the Voiceless Ones, Guardians of the Tower of Grond. They had their tongues removed by Marathi's Mean Girls clique. They're really good stats on them, combined with a pretty ugly color scheme. The color always kind of reminds me of my Lanta. You guys ever had that before? It's like, it's really disgusting over-the-counter syrup for tummy aches. Sucks ass. I mean, I had it a long time ago, almost 2 decades ago, and I still hasn't gotten out of my head. Saw the Blades of the Blood Queen, and these are the Rhyme Shards. They are a really cool Dark Shard unit with 165 range instead of 120, and magical arrows with frostbite. So they can be pretty punishing if you give them time to fire. Thankfully, we've got lots of units that can pressure them. And a Kharibdyss, unleashing its Abyssal Howl, -8 leadership in an AoE, bonus first large, and AP. Gaze of Cain can turn it into one of the best monster killers in the game. Gets all the way up to 88 melee attack under that spell. Pretty brutal stuff. More Cold One Knights, and of course, in the middle of everything, Hellebron, rocking that Cauldron of Blood, the Altar of Cain. I mean, there's a reason she used to be called Hellebroken. She does have her Cursed Blade. She's not broken anymore. That got patched a long time ago. But remember, when that DLC first came out, it was pretty nasty. She was able to just mulch through an entire army basically by herself. So she's still really good at murdering infantry. That's what she's designed to do. And taking her down is not going to be easy because she has magic resist and a lot of physical resist as well. But she's a big target for the Ushabti Greatbow, so we'll maybe think about shooting her down. First things first, though, gotta worry about those Blades of the Blood Queen. They will carve through the Wights of Stonewrath Tarn and pretty much all the Tomb King's infantry, so we need to equalize those numbers a bit. One of the best ways to do that is unleash volley after volley of Ushabti Greatbow fire into the middle of their ranks and explode them like the little cans of tomato paste they are. That Dark Elf Sorceress has Word of Pain and Chill Wind, so not very expensive, probably less than 800 gold, I would think, and she'll be able to do some nice debuffing on the main line. But yeah, those Blades of the Blood Queen getting torn up early on, and that's a good thing, because if they make it into contact with melee unscathed, it's going to get pretty brutal pretty fast for the Tomb Kings. There are some Cold One Knights trying to get around and behind. What he's going to try to do here is push the Ushabti Greatbows back and then get his stuff into the rear. Cold One Knights could shut them down pretty quick if they're able to get a clean charge off. Ushabti can protect themselves in melee against most troops, but when you start getting into 1,000 gold cavalry with AP and bonus force large, things get a little bit scarier for them, and they won't be able to defend themselves against that. So we're going to have to protect them and keep a lot of skeleton chaff in the way. But here comes the first charge, trying to get some of those skeletons off the field, and charge will certainly do quite a bit of damage, but not a big deal. And actually, probably going to go our way because we have a Spirit Leech. And remember, Spirit Leech does not do a ton of damage to Cold One Knights, but it will automatically kill models. I think on average, using Spirit Leech on a cavalry unit will kill about 7 models. So that's not bad at all. That's a lot of value for a pretty cheap spell, and they won't be able to come back from that. Now, these Cold One Knights are skirting around, trying to get into the rear and charge those Ushabti Greatbows from behind. But look at that. Those Cold One Knights actually took a ton of damage on the way in. Some Ushabti Greatbow volleys also helped there, and the Underworld Deathwatch could scoot in from behind and go right after those Rhyme Shards and maybe shut them down. And I'll need to, because their AP and Frostbite could really shut down the mobility and the power of a lot of our construct units. Hellebron's just gonna lawnmower her way through pretty much all the skeleton spearmen by herself. She doesn't even really need backup on that side. Left flank will crumble pretty quick for the Tomb Kings, but those Ushabti trading shots with the Dark Rider repeater crossbows, and normally I wouldn't recommend that. The only issue is if I retreat them too far, that's where the Cold One Knights can really come in from behind and start preying on those Ushabti Greatbows. And there is a big gap opened up in the middle where the Dark Riders can kind of position themselves and move forward under the cover of their own infantry. So I don't have a lot of stuff pushing them back. Gaze of Cain has popped on the Blades of the Blood Queen, the Emerald Sentinels of Lybaras, ready to receive that charge and push them back, and they'll be able to kill a lot of Dread Spears and Executioners by themselves, but obviously would like to have some meat shields up front to absorb some of that damage for them. And Kharibdyss and Hellebron double teaming and Tokyo drifting through those skeleton spears, and swordsmen carrying, doing what they do best, just being really hella annoying, straight into the back of the Rhyme Shards and tying them down, and over the course of a battle could maybe kill quite a few of their number too. Underworld Deathwatch still coming in from behind, but still has a ways to go, and the Emerald Sentinels will carve a path. That's what they're designed to do. They're in infantry. I mean, they're spearmen, but it doesn't matter. We have the Whites of Stonewrath Tarn right there. They're going to slice them up and dice them up real nice. But the Kharibdyss, very well done from Arrowcrest, getting into their rear, and only a couple of attacks will kill some models and actually start making their HP plummet pretty damn hard. Some really nice shots coming in from the Ushabti into the Dark Riders with repeater crossbows. Carrion coming out worse for the wear against those Dark Shards, but that's such a good trade for us, it doesn't really matter. And Ushabti summon actually just got summoned on top of them as well. Cold One Knights, their charge got blocked by Skeleton Swordsman and by Carrion, so they've done a very good job of shutting down their utility and their mobility, making sure they can't get into the high value stuff. Emerald Sentinels escape from the Kharibdyss, and that's a big deal, because if they continue to fight there, that would have been bad. The Ushabti summons and the Underworld Deathwatch just came in from behind, and that is a glorious thing to behold, because the Tomb Scorpion will tear out them almost instantly off that rear charge, and that's pretty much exactly what we wanted from our Tomb Scorpion. Having Stalk on a Scorpion is awesome. It really opens up a lot of tactics that you wouldn't normally be able to, because they just see it on the map as soon as the battle started. So being able to stalk in from behind has really helped just shut down that ranged unit completely, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to make any more impact on the battle. Chill Wind ripping through the side of those Whites of Stonewrath Tarn, and Tomb Scorpion now sweeping in from behind and charging down the flank and burrowing under those Blades of the Blood Queen and sending them flying, showering their giblets across the battlefield. And very soon, this entire flank will crumble for the Dark Elves. But the Kharibdyss is pissed off in there too, and he's been hitting some really high value stuff. Hit the Ushabti a couple times, hit the Tomb Scorpion once. Certainly, if he manages to stay on target, we'll be able to make a really big impact here. But the Ushabti Greatbows have not been shut down. They've taken some damage trading with the Dark Riders with the repeater crossbows, but all the cavalry is off the field for the Dark Elves, and that's a big deal, because that's their best way to tie down the Ushabti and really shut them down. Looks like the Gaze of Cain has popped again. Look at that. The Kharibdyss up to 88 melee attack with poison. Just absolutely brutal monster, right where it wants to be, and murdering those Emerald Sentinels of Lybaras. Tomb Scorpion needs to find a new neighborhood to visit because this is a bad spot for him for sure. Dark Elf Sorceress is completely fine. So is Hellebron, and she's had a wonderful time this battle. To be fair, there haven't been a lot of blood sacrifices for Kane. Lord of Murder likes to shed some actual blood, so killing Skelly Boy is probably not his favorite thing ever, but regardless, she is well over 150 kills at this point. She has just murdered everything she has touched, and only been in infantry, so that's really where she thrives. Spirit Leech going down on the Kharibdyss, and Arkhan the Black got pretty far up here, was looking for maybe a Purple Sun Azarius on a blob, but all the infantry for the Dark Elves is pretty much gone. And I charge him in, and I'm saying, okay, I just realized I need to get the hell out of here. Arkhan the Black has no mass whatsoever, and he can't even push through a single line of Dread Spears. And suddenly, things get very scary. This was a 100% a micro mistake on my part. I was trying to tie down some of these range units, maybe tie down the Dread Spears or the Kharibdyss with some skeleton summons, and I just got way too far forward. And now he's completely surrounded and has absolutely nowhere to go. It's bad news bears for Arkhan the Black, the Lieutenant of Nagash, surrounded by the Dark Riders. Aristocratic is going to jump on that opportunity, but while we realize, okay, Arkhan the Black probably getting Piper parried here, doesn't really have a chance to escape, there are things that we can do. We can drop the curse on everything around him, which is not bad. I mean, it's going to do a lot of damage to everything that he's just blobbed up around, and he's committed a lot to killing Arkhan. So while that's happening, guess what? Ushabti Greatbows destroying that Kharibdyss, continuing to fire shot after shot into its big armored flank, and the Hydra from the depths certainly taking a lot of damage. At the same time, though, it's coming at the cost of our Lord. On his home turf, in the shadow of the Black Tower of Arkhan itself, feels bad to misuse him like that, and that could cost us the game. Balance bar shifting in the Dark Elves' favor now. Why, oh why, did we send Arkhan the Black so far forward? Sometimes you do things and you just say, I don't know why I did that. That was dumb. But battle is far from over. We've still got the Underworld Deathwatch. We've still got all our Ushabti Greatbows, although the Emerald Sentinels of Lybaras are on their last legs and pretty close to crumbling. If they get near the Kharibdyss with that -8 leadership Abyssal Howl, they probably will begin crumbling. And Hellebron charging up the center into the Tomb Scorpion, which I don't know I'd recommend. I'm not going to get that bonus versus infantry, and the Tomb Scorpion has an even better stat line than Hellebron does on that Altar of Cain, because she's more of an AoE death dealer than she is a single target fighter. And the Tomb Scorpion, well, at least kind of blocking her up and preventing her from moving. Emerald Sentinels of Lybaras into the flank of that Kharibdyss, and it is running for the hills now. That focus fire has made pincushions out of the poor monster, and it's on the verge of shattering. Gaze of Cain in the center. Hellebron just crumbled an entire unit of skeleton warriors, but the Kharibdyss is gone from the field. It is shattered. 75 HP. That's a huge deal. Being able to get that monster away from us, it means that they can't close down the Ushabti Greatbows that easily once we deal with the Dark Riders. And if the Kharibdyss had somehow been able to make it into the Chosen of the Gods or something, could have munched on them, snacked on them all game long. But now it can't. It's just not going to come back to the fight because it's shattered. So the Chosen of the Gods and the Ushabti, we need to create those angles. The Dark Riders are charging in, desperately trying to close them down in melee, and they're going to be able to do that, but Ushabti can, of course, defend themselves against something like light Dark Riders. They're just not, they don't have the melee stats to be able to really sustain in prolonged combat with them, and they're pretty much out of ammunition. They've been used very well by Aristocratic to sit on top of those Ushabti, but now as they charge in, they will meet their end. Close range volleys from the Chosen of the Gods and the regular Greatbow unit. They're going to get some really nice shots in, and the Dark Riders will begin dropping. Blades of the Blood Queen are somehow still on the map. I don't know how. Just crazy good leadership is the only thing that makes sense. Hellebron getting sniped out by the Ushabti. Balance bar still in the favor of Harganeth, but this battle is still completely up in the air. Dread Spears just routed. Blades of the Blood Queen just shattered, and it's Hellebron and the Dark Elf Sorceress are pretty much the only units left for the Druki. Over on this side, the Dark Elf Sorceress fighting it out, and she has Word of Pain and Chillwind. Neither will be very useful here because I believe Word of Pain is on cooldown, and she just shattered. She also has 72 HP left, and it looks like the Tomb Scorpion will be able to run her off the map, if not cut her into little giblets. And Hellebron, now isolated on an island, has but one choice. charge into melee and kill off 3 units by herself. Now, taking down the Tomb Scorpion in and of itself would be pretty challenging. Remember, it has 44 melee attack, 48 melee defense. But on this Altar of Cain, might not even be able to beat these Chosen of the Gods or the regular Ushabti Great Bows. There are 2 of them left, and this is why it is great to have them as a range component in your army, because they can defend themselves in melee so admirably. And Hellebron trying desperately to kill them and destroy them and cut them to pieces, but it's looking like she might not be able to. She's on the verge of wavering. There's some crumbling on the Tomb King's line, but there's no way she's going to be able to beat the statuettes of Lybaras, the statuettes of Khemri, and also kill that Tomb Scorpion that's coming in from the other side of the battlefield. Stuck it in now. This will be the end of Harganeth. This will be the end of Hellebron. And as lightning flashes in the background near the Black Tower of Arkhan, looks like the Tomb Kings are going to be able to defend their home turf and take the battlefield. Really close game. Would have been really interesting to see her go toe-to-toe with that Tomb Scorpion instead of the Ushabti at the end, and see who could have taken that in a 1v1. But Hellebron sacrifices a lot of her single entity killing power on top of that Altar of Cain. When she goes with the Cursed Blade, it's all about AoE death dealing, and that's what she does exceptionally well, maybe better than most other lords in the game. It's a chariot, basically. You just charge through stuff. She can rack up like 50 kills on a single charge. Very few lords can deal that kind of damage in such quick succession, but what you sacrifice is your ability to duel. And so when she dealt with those Ushabti Great Bows and tried to maybe go in with the Tomb Scorpion, she just kind of got tied up by all its mass and couldn't deal the damage fast enough to take the battle. But there's no denying the impact she had on that game. 232 kills is incredibly impressive. The Kharibdyss only got 22, but again, its entire job was not to kill infantry, not to kill many numbers, but to kill the constructs. And with that, it got 2 chevrons. Managed to kill the Emerald Sentinels of Lybaras, managed to do a lot of damage to the Tomb Scorpion. Underworld Deathwatch, I will say, was... I mean, that stock Vanguard shenanigan stuff was amazing. So much fun to just sweep in from behind when he's not expecting it, destroy the Rhyme Shards, and then sweep in, get their rear charge into the Blades of the Blood Queen. Just absolutely glorious. Made a huge impact there, and the Ushabti Great Bows were without question the best units on the field. They just didn't quite get tied down. They managed to kill a bunch of Dark Riders, a lot of the Blades of the Blood Queen, and those 3 working in tandem sniped out a lot of the high-value stuff for the Dark Elves. Hope you guys enjoyed that game. More content coming very soon. Have a good one. Peace out.